playing E6 at previous events, we know they're like a really aggressive team. They're one of the most aggressive in the world.
I feel like we'll be Elevate again. I feel like that that's not a team we need to really have intel over or like surveil what they do. I feel like we just have to come into the game and just outgun them and we'll win.
Playing against royalty in the past, I think he brings a lot of energy to the team, and again a lot of pace in game. He fills a lot of gaps where, like, in that aggression, which his team don't have to pick up every single cut. A lot of energy there. He likes to talk a lot of trash.
I think we'll beat E6 3-1 and 3-2.
I feel like we will beat Elevate 3-0 or 3-1. They might sneak a map off us. Best case scenario for them.
I believe, I'm very confident we'll beat them both times.
Elevate, of course, coming in very confident to this series, as is Enigma6. Merc, here is a look at our maps. Anything stand out to you here?
The Hardpoint's Retail Breakout, Phil was talking about sort of Watson taking over that NV4 role. Well, we're going to see how critical he is, because these Hardpoints, that's where NV4 shines. We'll see how he plays. And that Frost Uplink, I just feel like that's Enigma6 best. Watch out for Royalty to use that karma.
Momo, Elevate haven't impressed at all throughout the year. They failed to get top 8 at any North American event. How'd they improve since Anaheim, though, in your opinion?
I feel the improvement they've done is they've actually gone away and thought about things. They've changed things, and they've come back with a new mindset, and I feel that is going to be, you know, the way to improve the most. We'll have to see if it works out. I hope so.
Teep, is this going to be a straightforward one for E6, though? I kind of feel like it might be.
I think I'm going back to week 1. There was a clear-cut team in the group that didn't belong. I feel like that's Elevate here in this group. I hope they prove me wrong, but looking at this map set, I think the uplink's going to be way too strong from E6 and respawns in general. E6, probably 3-1.
Well, without further ado, let's get the first game underway. E6 versus Elevate. We can send it down to our casters. It's Maven and Courage.
Thank you, gentlemen. We do have an interesting game 1. Retaliation Hardpoint, actually one of the better maps and modes for Elevate throughout the course of the year, but that's when they had, you know, a good MV4 player in Shawnee, then in Rated. They don't really have an MV4 player now. Watson's really going to have to step it up. It should be interesting.
Most certainly Watson, a lot of weight on his shoulders this weekend. I just saw JP, the stat guy we talk about every week. Definitely give him a follow on Twitter, see what he's kind of pulling on up there to catch you off guard. This time, I think he said something along the lines of Elevate had like a 14% hardpoint win rate since Dallas as a kind of that main trio. They need some help here in game 1 against Enigma6. Again, you heard them mention in the video, Maven, the hyper aggression from Enigma6. They've got to try to match that if they want to take this game 1.
And that 14%, that jumps out. I mean, that's what EG was in Hardpoint going into Sunday. We know how things fell apart for them. You have got to be a strong Hardpoint team to have a chance to make it into playoffs. But it is the new guy, Royalty, joined a few weeks before Anaheim. He's going to be a crucial part of this team. Unfortunately, Proto wants him off the map.
And okay, there you go. We're gonna go ahead and get a quick reset there for map number 1. But either way, though, you saw an instant team kill come in. That's all we can break down. So what I want to see next time is not getting a team kill. That's all you need.
Probably improve their chances off of the break, that's for sure. But we could talk a little bit about what the guys were bringing up on the desk. I agree. I mean, Elevate's sort of your mind freak from last week in the sense that I don't think many people expect them to come out. You know, you hear Watson talking about how confident they are, but to be fair, they haven't showed us anything for months now. It's very, very difficult to have any faith in them performing. It almost reminds me of, not that Elevate were ever playing as well as a team like Rise Nation, but Rise, it's like we kept expecting them to be good, but they were in a funk for so long and had so many poor results that eventually you just stop believing. You stop expecting them to get a strong finish.
Yeah, and it was also mentioned, you know, they reset their mindset, which I think is super key, especially when coming into the league. They're back in it now. They've got a new 4th to come play with in Desire. They're ready to go, right? They want to prove people wrong this weekend. I think, though, when you look at who else is in this group, Enigma6, and obviously when you think of Ghost Gaming, those are their best chances for me, for them to be able to take some series. Yes, FaZe Clan with their new 4th. A lot of people still having questions about how Gunless will fit in on that team, but I think if there's an opportunity in this group, it's to get 2nd for Elevate, and they've got to start with a series victory here.
They really do. But on the other side of Enigma6, you see Royalty there, and it's been interesting, this team. It went from so much of like a hard carry for General, right? We were looking at his stats from Dallas, right? I think he led in respawn and search and destroy KD. He was just dropping bombs every map. That led into stage 1. But lately, it seems like, I don't know if there's a change, but he hasn't needed to be that guy. At playoffs, you know, he wasn't dropping that 1-2 like he had in the past. Same could be said for Anaheim. Proto's got a bigger role. Royalty has that slay factor as well. It's been interesting to see this team kind of change a little bit their mold over the past couple.
Proto's absolutely been a most improved player for me on this team as of late. He's someone that you can now rely on for Enigma6. They need him this weekend. When you think of what he does, yes, that aggression there on the map, but I think he plays at a very similar pace and play style to Royalty, where they complement each other. When you've got Proto kind of leading the charge, Royalty just behind him, and then you've got General as your third line of defense, that's a scary, scary trio. When talked about players that need to improve, I believe it was Tiffy who brought up Cade as the guy who you need to see begin to step things up for the side of Enigma6. If he can do that, I think Enigma6 have a chance to win this group.
Yeah, and does he need to? No, I mean, it's not his role really to crush, but look at a team like last week. We had Luminosity, and maybe Classic's a guy we don't highlight as frequently because he's got just other people on the team that are putting up the big slaying numbers. Classic has his best weekend, completely destroys, leads in just about every category. He was brilliant. You know, when you get your guy that sometimes is your dirty work player, your guy on the entry kills, when they go off, it makes everything, I feel like, easier for everybody else.
Let me put it to you this way. This weekend, and I'll ask you this question, who is going to be your Classic who just has a ridiculous weekend for any of these teams, not even just these two? If there's one you can pick from this entire group
that I think is just going to go off.
Just have one of their best weekends, a big reason why maybe their team gets top 2.
Zuma.
Yeah?
Yeah, you know, talking to Enable, they were talking about the cyst in his wrist and how much has actually been affecting him. I didn't realize how bad it was, but Enable on Hot Mic last night was like, people didn't realize he had such little strength in his thumb, like his right thumb, that if he had to snap on somebody, he literally couldn't. Yeah. Like, it was taking him out of it. He gets the surgery now, and he said he's back to, like, AW Zuma. He has just been crushing. I think he's my guy, man. I'm expecting big things from him.
So you say Zuma. I'm going to go with Mox from Ghost Gaming. I think that he's someone that has a lot of opportunity to excel in this group. You think of him with that AR going up against Enable. I think that's absolutely a winnable matchup for him. He's got one of the better shots from range, especially of some of the new up-and-coming talent we've seen in the last couple of years of Call of Duty. We'll see if Ghost can continue their performance from Anaheim. They shocked a lot of people there, but this is one of those Cinderella stories, one of those examples. Well, it's like, okay, you had one good event. Now prove you're the real deal. Now keep going.
And when you look at it, it was actually European teams that ended up knocking them out. They get, I believe, 3-0 by Splice, then 3-0 by Red Reserve, and they're taken out. So maybe a little bit of a rivalry brewing there between Ghost and the European side, and that's who they're facing off. We'll get them, what, later today? They're going to be playing Elevate? No, that will actually, yes, they will. That'll be the third match today.
Yep, and also a very tough day for FaZe as well. You think of who they're going to be facing right off the bat. You've got Ghost and you've got Enigma6, the two North American squads. Elevate tomorrow. FaZe have got to come out of the gate hot, but we're back ready for game number 1 now between our European team Elevate and Enigma6. This is week 2 of stage 2 of the CWL Global Pro League presented by PS4. Maven, we didn't even get to do our predictions leading into map 1. I kind of hopped right in. Who do you got coming out of the gates here?
Map 1, I heavily have Enigma6 just because... Really? I mean, Watson, we can think about him back to maybe Advanced Warfare days where he was one of the better BAL players. He was great with an AR, but the NV4 is a completely different beast. And, you know, we talk to the top guys like your Arcities, your Octanes. They're so good at positioning. You don't just learn that overnight when you switch to run the AR. It's going to take some time. I think he's got his hands filled this weekend.
Well, this time around, we'll see if Royalty gets killed by a teammate again. Doesn't look like it yet, as Cade has now successfully launched that one onto Watson. First couple kills, and here's the aggression we talk about with Royalty. This man has an NV4 in hand. He plays on one of the higher sensitivities. It allows him to do things up close with that gun that other players really can't because they just can't snap as well with the weapon. Off the break, it is Enigma6 up 15-0 as Elevate are already spawning out lower street.
Yeah, his couple of kills pushed through. We were on with Cade a little bit. You saw how easy his job was. He's just set up in the hardpoint. No one even able to challenge him. And that's partly to do to General as well. He's 4-0. He's already 225 off the Trinity rocket. Him going big as the camo player, also important. So a strong start from one of the best in the business.
And look at that. Enigma6 get the lower street spawn. You're definitely going to want to push out market side. So that number 4 in your map already doing the correct thing. That's going to be Proto moving towards those new spawns for the next hardpoint. Watson does get the cleanup, as now it does look like Elevate will begin to push this hill, and the timing is working out perfectly for him here, Maven. Already 2 dead. Cade last alive for E6. He's got some help from Proto. Proto now gone. Elevate successful on the kills and rotation.
Yeah, Watson, I mean, not only does he find a couple of kills, but he serves as bait for his team. They do a good job cleaning up after the fact, but right like that, Enigma6 answer back and they regain control of Lower Street.
I think this is a perfect example, right, of a duo on a map that can be extremely scary. Royalty in general with those double NV4s. When we think back to the likes of Optic Gaming earlier this year, we saw kind of Crim and Formal rocking them at times on this map. It was scary for teams to try to contest from long range. You're now getting that same feeling from Royalty, as well as General, just protecting players inside the hardpoint. Remember, General, at one point earlier this year, Maven, was really the main hill player for Enigma6, it felt like. The guy would have close to 2.5 minutes in the hardpoint every other map, it seemed. Right now, with the way that this team is set up, especially on a map like Retaliation, he can play further outside that hardpoint, play more of an anchor-type role, and I think that's where he excels.
Well, let's see if Elevate is able to get the break here, Jack. It's Reedy starting to move through market. The first pick does come through onto General. His teammates grouped up behind him. They can win a couple key gunfights here, and you have a good chance. They have a 2-on-2 right now. Royalty has to go clutch, but it's actually Proto with the 3-piece, clearing out everybody. Desire of Elevate, really the only man remaining to deal with this. Good hold so far by E6.
Proto just saved this hill for Enigma6. Yes, it's obvious with a 3-piece, but the reason is that he gets 3 kills in front of him, and it stops the pinch from working. Desire too late on the flank. An abysmal start for him, now 2 and 7. Least amount of kills in the lobby, and a big reason why Elevate now find themselves down by 50. Cade already here towards this new hardpoint does get cut down, but he's at least helped clear out this bridge lane for his teammate Royalty.
And this is one of those defining moments in a hard point. You know, if you get all the time as Enigma6 inside Cathedral, and then you're able to get a quick break here on Elevate as we head over to Broken, this game gets out of hand very, very quickly. This pushes everything. You have to hold if you're Elevate. You can't allow them to get through. But General's already picked up one in the back. They have a 3-on-1 right now.
You actually saw for a brief second there the sensitivity of Royalty, right? Spins around, nearly gets a bullet off before dying. No other player could do that with how much higher his sensitivity is than the rest of the normal pro scene. 111 to 41, and Maven, this was your worry when we started up this map. Look at the slang difference. Enigma6, everyone positive. On the side of Elevate, everyone negative. 3 players with just 5 kills, 2 players with under 10 seconds in the objective. This game could be easily a 100-point club if it stays at this pace.
Yeah, this particular rotation, I was worried it could get out of hand. It is 7 streak right now for Proto. 100 off the bombardment. He's only got 13 bullets left in the clip to try and find this kill. Tagged up from behind, but a good job playing his life as he's looking to soak the final 10 seconds.
It's just not everything you could want if you're every player on Enigma6 right now. I feel like their roles are so well-defined, and I'm excited to hear our analysts break this down later on, because I think this is important to bring up, playing comfortable. You know, people talk about roles being a thing of the past at times in Call of Duty. Proto and Cade in your hard points. General and Royalty slaying around the hill. Royalty's kind of your back and forth player. General, his job is to just pre-aim with the NV4 and do things like that.
Well, that's why I think a lot of people may pick Enigma6 to top this group, because it's a very different change than what we saw go down on FaZe. I mean, you bring Gunless in for someone like Clayster, that is so different, right? It completely changes your comp chemistry, what roles you're running. Whereas for Enigma6, I don't think it changed it that much. You know, they still have that core trio. Nothing really gets swapped around. I feel good about E6 this weekend.
Well, certainly now as Cade does shut down Zed. 155 to 54 currently the score difference. They're still trying to contest middle map. About 20 seconds left before we rotate back towards top bridge. Remember, if we swap over to Proto for just a brief moment, he just actually died, but I do believe he still has some streaks to work with, so those can come into play as we move towards top bridge. But so far, no surprises for me, Maven, in this game.
Yeah, and Watson, you know, we talked about the pressure on him to do well with the MV4. He's having an okay game, but everybody else you can see severely negative currently. And not to say it's all on them, but something's not clicking. You're just getting bashed right now by Enigma6.
Think of what the rest of his teammates currently have to do. They have to run into these pre-aimed guns from the side of Enigma6. Enigma6 keep winning rotations, and when they're kind of the first lines and first offensive players, they're just getting wiped off the map. Watson's there to at least get the trade, but you have General two-piecing like this in a corner, nearly with the third onto Watson. It's a reason why this is a 100-second difference.
And they're opening up even more here as they have control of bridge. They dominated here the first time through. It's happening again in our second side of rotation. Spectacular play from Enigma6. This is what you expect from them coming into this weekend. You see Proto just using the movement, bouncing off walls and gunning.
And remember when I talked about General being able to play just that anchor role for his team? Look where he is on the map. Said, you know what, you guys, we've already gotten 40 seconds off this hill. I'll move right on over to Bike Shop. This player just above him has no idea he's here. This will help give Enigma6 a number advantage on another rotation. They're going to be the first ones in the hard point again. This has been the continued theme of this map.
And we'll see when General gets involved in the action. He's going to have to wrap out to help his teammates. Slides out, wins one. He gets tagged, I believe, from top plat, but able to get away with his life until more assistance come. They have market steps controlled as well. That was perfect.
And this is basically to shout out one of the best casters in the history of esports, Artosis. He once had a quote that has always stuck with me in scenarios like this, right? Are Enigma6 doing anything pretty? No, but Artosis once said, when you're ahead in a game, get more ahead. Why do anything risky for Enigma6 right now? Why do anything flashy? Just rotate early. Yes, give up 15 seconds of scrap time, but hold for 45. It's been working. Don't change anything up. You don't have to. Right now, they had a lead, and they're doing what they do to just get more ahead. Now, over a 2-minute lead.
Hey, you don't need that killing blow, right? Just bleed them out. You've had control all game. You only need 16 more points. Proto still has the streaks to work with. FTL here as well. I think he just spotted one on the edge. That's the easiest kill of his competitive career, as he is 15-11, a minute 40 in the hard point. Proto, he's been an absolute dream to watch lately, and he's continuing that here in stage 2.
You've got Cade, Royalty, and General all at 17 kills, 236 to 105. Here come those streaks, though. Again, you really won't have anything to follow up with these. I don't believe so as of yet. Yeah, and they'll still get the top spawn, so not the best streak use, but either way, even if they give up these 40 seconds, they still have an easy victory now on Broken, but Maven, they want to end the game here.
It at least allowed them to get a little bit of control and bounce back. And you see now 2 players spawning out from Elevate. It's a 2v1 right now towards the hard point. They've already won that. You see everybody sprinting across bridge right now for Elevate. Sorry, pals, you're not getting there in time. This first game going to be going to Enigma6, and it was one-sided from the get-go.
It was a clean game. 3 players involved in the objective, over a minute in the hard point. The 4th just shy of it. That is the Enigma6 that their fans want to see throughout the entire weekend. And I feel like they get a great draw here with Elevate. First, you get your confidence and momentum now in Game 1, Elevate's weakest game mode. You can now go into Search and Destroy with, you have General as well as Royalty on the scene. There are no S&D slouches either.
They're not, man. You know, when you take a look at some of the stats from stage 1, I believe Proto actually led. When you're talking about First Blood, being good, active, winning those one-on-one gunfights, finding those opening picks and getting away with your life, he was the best through everyone in stage 1. So if Proto can keep that up, man, they're going to be devastated.
It's basically been a new stat that's started to been developed so far in Infinite Warfare, a stat where for everybody at home, just to further explain it, it's, you know, the guy getting to the front lines, getting in the first engagements, and it's not just first blood percentage, it's their percentage of how many times they win or lose that, right? So, you know, Proto, 33% of the time he's their first one in an engagement, and of those first engagements, he wins them 65%, you know? And that was really the biggest outlier, one of the better stats of the weekend for the side of Enigma6. We'll see if he can keep that up here in stage 2.
I fully expect him to. I mean, just seeing how he did in that game 1, I know it was everybody, but Proto had the 7 streak, got streaks, which you never really felt that Elevate had a chance to swing the game in their favor just because he had those in his back pocket. Fantastic effort there, and they will take the game 1. We'll see if Elevate can bounce back, though, in Search.
Name a hill on that map that Elevate rotated to first.
You would talk, well, they didn't really rotate. They got killed to get over there, but they had Cathedral the first time because they gave up all the time.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, Broken the first time, but it was quickly, I mean, it got busted through in, what, 5-10 seconds?
That was the only hill that you could say that they actually were there for the first few seconds of. Outside of that, it was always Enigma6. And again, they wind up getting a lead, and they just do what they need to keep expanding on it. Get 40 seconds, have a couple players die instead of going for that scrap time, play for the new hill. Makes a lot of sense there, but Search and Destroy is up next. We know what Reedy can do with the sniper rifle. Does he bring it out here to maybe try to shoot some life into his team? Not too sure what tools they have to work with on the side of Elevate.
Well, you know, I believe the player they had to watch, Desire, the relatively new player now to Elevate. This is a guy that got 4th at Champs last year, falls out. They switched from 5e over to Epsilon. He ends up getting off that team for Josh. And now, I mean, this is a chance maybe at redemption for him if he can make a strong young player.
Yeah, I mean, think of this Elevate team, right? They have an opportunity to do something that Europe didn't do in stage 1, and that's send 2 players already to playoffs. Obviously, Fnatic have qualified. They can be the second if they get top 2 here. When we think of our tiers of European teams, right? Last year, at times, there was like 3 different tiers. You know, Millennium then pulled away. This year, right now, tier 1 is Splice and Epsilon. I think for everybody, easily Splice with the edge there. Tier 2 is the likes of Fnatic and Red Reserve. Then Elevate are kind of that top tier 3 team, I would say, that are on the verge of matching them. This is a weekend where they can maybe say, hey, we deserve to be tier 2 as well, if they can place in the top 2 of this group.
Yeah, and to be fair, we haven't seen anything that showed that they should belong in that conversation. But a good run, maybe that does get it done. Impressive performance last week from Fnatic, and I talked to Watson a little bit on Hot Mic. He was saying, yeah, man, there's some pride there. It was fun to watch them get in. They have to handle business now, but there's a lot of these guys, these UK players that have been playing together for a very, very long time. It's similar to North America in the sense it feels like everyone's played with everyone when you look at the top teams, right?
And it was actually interesting to talk to Watson after their terrible, terrible performance at Dallas, because you got to think, these guys traveled from Europe. They got up there a couple days early, were involved in media stuff, wanted to prove that they were ready to go that weekend. There was already talks about how little they practiced online. They played 5 whole series, 4 in pools, lost all those, then lost their first losers bracket match. Talking to him on Sunday night, he was pretty demoralized, saying, I just need to get out of here. I need to get back home. And get back on the grind. And this has been a team that when they have practice, they can do pretty well. When they don't, they fail, as you'd expect. Well,
I'll never forget the words he used when I talked to him after Dallas. He said, hey, one good thing, we know we need to work on, and that's everything.
Yes. Yes, great breakdown there, Watson. That's kind of what you'd expect from Watson if you ever met him in real life. Yeah. Oh, he cracks me up. I was rocking my Fnatic jersey earlier. I've been running around saying EU baby all day. I want to see multiple EU teams in playoffs.
We all do, and it was great to see Splice win Stage 1, but then you look forward at Anaheim, and you have Splice in the final, top 3 finish for Epsilon, top 8 also for Red Reserve. I mean, it's been insane, some of these finishes we're seeing, and you got to think, that's just, 2 weeks in the past. It should carry right into Stage 1, or Stage 2. I would love to see like a 4-4 split going into a $500,000 playoff.
Here'll be the difference, right? Here's what we're going to have. Stage 1, it was basically 4 straight weeks in the regular stage of European Call of Duty fans being let down, even down to Splice getting second in that group because they had first secured, and then Envy wound up taking it by 1 map. Then you don't have anyone else qualify, but you win playoffs. Great, ends on a high note. Maybe this time you're going to have 4 weeks of the regular stage, EU teams qualifying, doing well, really making some moves. And then maybe they'll just get 5th through 8th at playoffs, and that'll be that.
Well, Fnatic was giving their fans heart attacks, I think.
Oh, my God.
That was a dramatic finish.
When you got a couple lumps on that team, it's what winds up happening.
Well, here we go. Into Game 2, Round 1. Offense first for Enigma6. We'll be on with Cade early. It was TP's player to watch. Let's see what he can do.
Already forcing that player, that's Desire, to back on up there, regain his health. Do like the use of tacticals here to at least try to slow down the pressure of Enigma6, but they're going to go ahead and get this bomb planted right away. Focus on this objective. Cade on the flank. Cleans up Reedy. First blood for Enigma6.
Yeah, maybe lucky he didn't run into the E-Red first there. A hard angle to hold with the NV4, but he does get one, does his job. General, solid job snapping, then back onto Zed. 3-2 advantage here for Enigma6. They're trying to hunt. They only got 30 seconds to work with due to the quick plant from E6.
Look at all these NV4s right now being used between these teams. Watson trying to clean up royalty. I think they're both going for a beatdown, but either way, look at the time on the clock. 19 seconds left. Watson might try to chase this one down. Yeah, General's in a great window. So one thing I do want to talk about, the Enigma6 strategy right there. What you saw, Desire peeked up towards Market. They had 3 NV4s ready to go and immediately backed them up. 2 players got bullets into him. He had to run away, so what do they do off that? They high wall run, get a quick plant, watch that mid-train push. That was all about a fast plant and then falling back to B. Great decisive play to kick off that round 1.
It's tough to deal with unless you realize you're elevated and there's nobody mid-map. You're able to hit that mid-cut quickly and get involved, but they just weren't able to react quickly enough. Pressure, time against them very early. Let's see what Elevate can now do on the offensive end of things. And for Zed, it's catching a grenade, catching 2 grenades. 2
grenades quickly. Proto them with the 2-piece. Watson's just got a sniper, and yeah, this round is over already. Okay, unless he can get flashy with this, but you got to say, what a break-off for Enigma6 in round 2.
And you see on the minimap, they are just hunting him like a flock right now. He's just trying to get away, maybe to a safer position, and he has found a K-bar, so a little bit more to work with. If he gets good timing or turns with the snipe, if he's able to find one of these kills, he hits that, it becomes a much more interesting round. He has found a second. Watson trying to clutch up in the 1v4, Jack.
And now they're starting to split up. I don't think he spotted him at the blue tree. But either way, from a 1v4 to a 1v2, and look at all the time still remaining. He can continue to make moves on the map. And oh my goodness, he just got timing. No, that'll do it.
I thought he got the best timing. He ends up maybe being the worst, but he still is alive. He re-peeks and challenge. He's tagged him up close, trying to win it. Now the other one coming in. Snaps there.
Why was that even that close?
I have no idea how he stayed alive so long.
Just snapped onto General too, I believe that was. Oh my goodness. From a 1v4 down to almost a 1v1, and the last player already had a couple bullets in him. And Watson looks thrilled after that.
I think Watson's playing with some confidence right now.
Wow.
You know, usually we say late in rounds like that, it's not great to have a sniper, but he was in a position where it's one of the, he could get a pick and get away with his life, right? Which is so tough to do in a 1v4.
The timings just kept working out for him on that one. Cade will do what his opponent didn't do in round one, and that's throw a trophy on the site, because that will save him from the grenade. The leg is all the way exposed, but General watching over saves him his life.
Fantastic stuff for General, but he's now by his lonesome. Can he do what Watson tried? The answer, no. He'll get chopped down. First round going to be going to Elevate.
Zed with that E-Rat just shreds him right there. Middle map control goes to Elevate, and because of that, they're able to put the pressure on quite quickly. And again, you talk about playing with confidence. Watson just soars out to top train and just kills the player at lower sidewalk. Why would you ever expect someone to do that off the break of a round? Watson exposes a hole in the setup there and helps win his team the round.
And sometimes that's all it takes in Search, right? You got one guy, he's going off, feels he can win every single engagement he's going to get involved in. He keeps shooting like that.
Well, there's a difference, right? There's a guy going off and knowing an advantageous position to catch your opponent off guard, and then there's players like me who are just stupid and just do things like that. And because it's so dumb, they would never expect you to do that, and it works out.
Oh,
so it really depends on who's playing on that gamer tag.
Yes, it does. Watson was looking over middle. Proto tucked away in the close corner.
Look at him. That's Watson flying around.
And there it is, another first blood for Watson. He's 6-3. He hasn't been picked up. He's got 4 teammates behind him. Watson guns another one. He's working on the ace right now as he's found the first 2 kills. But Cade and General have to fight against the 2v3.
He's just holding forward with an NV4 and picking up kills like it's nothing. General going to get great timing on one and get away with his life. What a move right there from General to keep this now in a 2v2.
Cade and General now synced up as they're going to wrap around the backside of Barn. And just trying to find an angle. Look at Watson still just hunting across the map. Look at that number 7 on the minimap. He is just soaring around, trying to find anyone he can. Now he definitely needs to sync up with Desire. They need to win this situation. Now it's a 1v1. Watson not there to trade it out, but he has tagged up Cade. He's aware of his positioning. Just under 30 seconds now on the clock. Watson, though, gunned.
That's one of those scenarios where you just got to not shoot. Wait things out. Shoot when you know you've got an opportunity. Look at it again here from Cade's perspective. Uses that high wall run, regains just enough health to re-challenge. And there's a smile on his face for a reason. Big round swing to put it up to 3-1 for E6.
That's one of those times where Watson just kind of going Rambo mode and hunting around the map ends up hurting him. He's not there to trade it out when they had man advantage.
Well, also, you think in that 1v1 gunfight, because Cade is holding that bottom silo area, he gets 4 bullets down range and doesn't get tagged up once, so he stays alive with full health before challenging that final 1v1.
Well, right now it is 3-1 lead for Enigma6. Every offensive round they have, I think they planted the bomb in the opening 10 to 15 seconds. It's been very, very easy plans for them thus far. Kills going back and forth, a little bit out of the range of the E-Rab, but he is able to clean it up. 2v2 quickly, Jack.
And Desire still looking for this next kill. Unfortunately, look at the timing. As he jumps past, he's now gone. Royalty will challenge a player on site. And that's it. 4-1 Enigma6. They're just picking apart this push from Elevate. And a lot of it, you know, even there, Elevate do a good job of getting middle map control, but at what cost? A quick bomb plant and a fully set up Enigma6. You got to kind of realize your priorities there and begin to look towards that bomb a little bit earlier.
And that, like you said, a little bit of unfortunate timing. Watson going to have no idea he's about to get shot in the back. Probably increases the frustrations right now you're experiencing for Elevate. Watson needs a little bit of help.
Most certainly. He's got the same amount of kills as the rest of his 3 teammates combined. As E6, this is their turn now to push out towards middle. You've already got Proto as well as Royalty there. First blood for Royalty. Watson already earning that reactive armor. He's going to have to back on up, though, and play his life.
3 versus 3 now. Watson does get an angle on one. Yeah, I thought for a second he was just going to charge in there and challenge that. Nice shots by General. He has camo for his team. He's going toe-to-toe with Watson in every regard. It's now Zed all by himself. And General, I don't know if he got help there or hit every bullet. We'll see.
You see the strength of General as a player with the NV4. This has been the weapon he's been using the entire year. And look what he can do with it. Boom, snaps onto Zed right there. That's an E-Rat in Zed's hands. Ooh. General gets the shots down range right away and puts his team up 5-1 in this game too, Maven. They are running away with the S&D.
And you got some examples last week about how quick the MV4 can kill if you hit all those shots. There was the Parasite kill on this very same map. You had Waskin's kill on Havoc in the 1v1. You hit your shots, man. You can match just about any gun.
Royalty botches that grenade launch right there, but little does he know, no one even near that for Elevate. Again, E6 get a free plant. Another 4v4 scenario with the objective down.
Yeah, the plants have just been too easy. It looks like you're struggling to get it down for Elevate. For E6, they're gimmies. General pops camo, so Watson should be dead in a moment. You take him off the map, and that gives your team, well, takes away your chance probably to win this round. Let's see if they can close it out 6-1. Another win for General. He wraps around the back and guns everybody. General just dominating there in that final round.
My goodness, General, go off, my friend. E6 up 2-0. Here's a look again from his perspective. Not only is that kill on Watson huge, Maven, because it keeps the numbers at a 2v2, but he kills the reactive armor player, 3-piece at the end of that. I think the faces of Elevate perfectly summed that one up. It's now a 2-0 Enigma6 lead, not close in Hardpoint. Even worse in Search and Destroy, and now going into Uplink, where we know E6 are a force to be reckoned with. I think we got a hot 3-0 to kick off the second week.
It's looking that way, and it just looks so easy.
Yep.
I guess is the scary part. I mean, we know Enigma6 is the superior team here. Absolutely. They've been a top 8 team in North America throughout the entire year, better than that a lot. It's just not close. Can Elevate, though, fight back in the Uplink, turn this best of 5 into a series? We'll find out at this quick break.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's your G Fuel key player matchup for map 3 between Elevate and Enigma6. These are some stats from the season up to this point throughout recent events and stage 1. Reedy, we know what this man is capable of when the fire is lit under him when it comes down to competition, but right now Elevate look flat while Proto and crew are running away with the series. Proto might not have the flashiest uplink KD, but look at those points scored. The man is a machine when it comes down to getting his team the lead in Game 3. This has been your G Fuel key player matchup.
It may seem a distant memory, but Enigma6 was far and away, I believe, our best uplink team we had in Stage 1. They were amazing, but I know going into Anaheim, I believe it was Chance that was talking about the fact he had some question marks. So you put Royalty on the team, they thrive on that kind of teamwork and chemistry in uplink. They fell back a little bit. I'm wondering with more time now if we're going to see them back to that dominant uplink team here.
I think we get to see a first taste of it right now. This is a game mode that not only just in this series, but throughout the weekend, if they remain that good in it, I fully expect them to go undefeated in uplink, as we saw back in Stage 1 through the first couple days.
I think they lost one the whole weekend.
Exactly. I think they have a great opportunity here to, again, use this as their game mode that they can really help swing a series. Right now, it would be to close the door as they're up 2-0.
You know, you want, as casters, you know, we love just series going the distance, right? We want epic game 4, epic game 5, but I'm struggling to find a little bit of faith in myself for this series to go any further right now.
Well, there is Reedy from our key player matchup. What can he do with this team? Zed, someone we really haven't talked about at all, a guy that at times last year put up some of the most ridiculous slaying numbers we saw in the online league for the CWL. Now, quiet on the main stage here, going up against Enigma6. This is just match 1 of the day. Up next, we've got the brand new debut of FaZe Clan with Gunless as their 4th, going up against Ghost Gaming, the team that had the real Cinderella story from our Anaheim event. Maybe do you think there's going to be any upsets and surprising stories in that series?
I have no idea what to expect from FaZe. I've heard such polar opposite opinions from pro players. Like I have heard they look great. You know, I talked to Enable and he's talking about how good Zuma's been, how good they feel, how well they're playing. And then I've had pros tell me that they're horrendous, like literally saying they're awful now. It was just hard for me to believe. I got to see it here on LAN, but
listen, you spoke to Enable. If I'm Enable, even if my team isn't winning a single map in a scrim against a top 48 team, I'm saying we're great right now. We need that confidence. It's what helps you. What helps me do well when I play.
It reminds me when Joe Flacco was asked if who the best quarterback in the league was. You know, you have to say you are. That's what you got to say.
Yeah.
He caught some flack, but you need confidence, man. You have to have it.
Who's Joe Flacco?
He's a quarterback.
I'm just kidding.
Baltimore Ravens.
I went to school in Baltimore, so
okay.
Basically every other person was wearing his jersey. Here we go. Game 3. Elevate. We do have. Okay, I was about to say we're starting with Elevate, but no, our colors. They've pulled a fast one on us. So Elevate will be yellow for this map. The Karma brought out by Cade right away. Already an example of some different weapons being used by Enigma6.
We got the graphic swap for you guys up top, so you will see Enigma6. They will be on the left, Elevate on the right. Apologize for the color issue. This is going to be an interesting cast for me because I am the worst.
And now we get a taste of Royalty with the submachine gun in his hand. Woo. Plays like that. Snaps onto Watson for the 2nd kill. You just get dizzy watching this man after time, and it's because he's just on such a different level, doubling the sensitivity of most pro players. Here comes the push, though. They're being bait. Can the drone go through? It does look like the 2 body blocks from Royalty and Cade will work. E6 up 1-0.
Solid start here, striking in the opening 60 seconds. We'll see if they can keep the momentum up. Watson trying to battle out of his base on the research side of the map. Wins 1 before falling. No one really able to get any kind of control yet, but it's Proto just roaming mid-map with that E-Rad, trying to be a nuisance. I don't know how he ends up winning that one. Proto's been great, man.
Yeah, Proto most certainly has been an improving player for this team. Again, though, Cade with this Karma just running around Royalty with one in hand as well. I wonder if these Elevate guys have even faced this weapon up to this point in their practice in Europe. I would highly doubt it. As Enigma6 so far, they've been really the only ones who have touched this drone, and they've kept it in their opponent's base.
E6 just got 3 down behind a 2-piece there from Cade. Zed was kind of lone man playing a bit of defense. Slows them down for the moment. Drone was in a scary spot. It does get reset. Unfortunately, if you're Elevate, mid-map has completely been controlled by Enigma6. I mean, they've just been trying to find out a research this entire time. You just look at those red arrows on the minimap for Enigma6 right now. It's been lethal.
A little bit of a botched throw there. Zed with a 3-piece in base to stop the drone from going through, but someone I have to talk about really quickly, General. Think of the different play styles we've seen from him so far this series. We saw the NV4 anchor slow play role in map 1 of Retaliation to really be the one to just lock down those rotations. And guess what? His team didn't lose a single rotation basically throughout the entire map. So did his job there. S&D, the guy, well, he needs to beam people from range with the NV4. That's exactly what he did. He did it from top blue. He got the kill top bust. The 3-piece at the end goes off there. Now in Uplink, when you have Royalty swapping off that AR and going to the aggressive sub play, you've also got the likes of Cade matching that as well alongside Proto. General's job, be a little bit more aggressive with that K-bar now to match the pace of his team. He's done all three of those things exceptionally well so far. And he's my standout player so far in this series from the side of Enigma6.
Well, let's see if he can keep it going. Jack, 3 down again for Elevate. Reedy trying to play defense now. They've wrapped the drone, though, back into sub bay. Proto going to be your lead man. You saw how many points he puts on the board for his team. It's exceptional. He's had a chance to strike there before getting dropped. General, though, still alive. Cade fighting now as well. Desire just took a dip off the map. Oh, just resets.
He tries to go grab it and keep it in control of sub bay when he can. I would love, if we can, from backstage, Brian, if we can show Cade's class, possibly bring up the loadout for folks at home. And okay, the second he changes, he winds up swapping. Obviously, we've seen Proto as well as Royalty with it. He had the Karma for a moment, but for people at home who might want to try that weapon, wanted to show exactly what he was using on the gun. And I just said to swap to Cade, and the first thing he does is jump off the map. I'm never calling for a swap again.
Somebody take off his thrusters there?
I don't know what just happened. It's only right that the one time I call for somebody, he jumps off the map.
Yeah, it was perfect, Jack. You see Enigma6 with control again, another 3-down scenario. Can they turn it into points this time? Cade's got drone. There's 60 seconds left here.
Elevate have now given up their base. They're going to play for the long game. I want to see Enigma6 wait with the drone. Fall back towards middle. You've got no middle map presence yet.
This is a counterattack opportunity for Elevate, but as a couple drop, that's been slowed down. Nobody's got the drone, so they're not going to be able to make a play. It's Cade just holding kind of the bulldozer there to make sure no counterattack does happen, and Royalty's already right back in an aggressive position, just being annoying.
Cade trying to go for the beatdown. Nice fadeaway shots right there from Watson to pick up the kill. 3-0, 30 seconds remaining. Elevate have not gotten close with the drone. I don't think they've brought it past that 50-yard line in middle map, and a lot of it just comes down to the slang again. 3 players positive from Enigma6. Right now, no answer for Elevate to the hyper-aggression we're seeing from E6, especially in Uplink on Frost. They even talked about it in the pre-match interviews, Maven, and still they look overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, and TP talked about, Cade, if he can step it up, how this team will be even more deadly. A 19-13 first half coming in from Cade. If you're Elevate, at least a little silver lining, you put through a point there before we close out the first half.
E6 now 5 minutes away from the 3-0 sweep over Elevate. If there is a silver lining here for Elevate, it is that they just got 1 point to close out side 1, which will bring them back within 2. So a 1-possession game. I don't know, though. I don't know. This side 2 worries me, especially now with the most popular route on this map available for Enigma6 with this drone. That route is you grab the drone, you bring it back towards your ice tunnel, throw it into ship bay, slay out with subs, and then push out the lane for easy scores and 1-point plays. We'll see if they can exploit that now in side 2.
And that'll play right into the exploits they've been doing against this team, right? They've completely handled the slaying battle throughout the course of this series. You think that would be a route that would extremely favor them, but it is 3 down for E6 now.
Ooh!
Reedy snapping, and we've seen, wasn't it a Retaliation, I believe in stage 1, where he really went off, one of the final maps of the weekend. No one used an E-Red there but him, and he had a monster performance. Let's see if he can turn it up here, trying to keep his team alive. Unfortunately, as he falls, they rely on his team for the dunk. It's going to be 3-3. He'll be coming off a spawn. They're trying to wrap back. They need to beat Proto now to the drone. Make sure there's no counterattack chance, because they're just going to try and grab this drone and go. Proto's the number 4. He's grabbed it, went straight forward, trying to get points on the board immediately after. Good defense, though, from Elevate to make sure it doesn't happen.
Really nice engagement right there from Reedy to cut down Cade in middle map. Tried to get cheeky with the drone. 3 now dead for Enigma6 coming off spawn. Royalty trying to be a nuisance on this flank, and I think he's done just that. Reedy having to worry about where he's coming from. Little does he know. Oh!
Okay.
He was right next to you.
Didn't see him. A little hot potato there.
Yeah.
At mid-bay, though, with the drone. It has been reset. General going to get the first touch.
Here's that route. You bring it in towards ship. You wind up pushing out this lane. They've got the aggressive submachine guns now. 3 dead for Elevate. They've got 2 different lanes they can push. They decide that the inside lane is better. Thankfully, Watson, again with that K-bar, making all the difference. No 1-point throw. Either it's an interception. Watson's 3-piece stops the push.
You've had to rely on hero plays a couple of times. I believe it was Zed that got a 3-piece on defense to slow it down. Now Watson's done it. Reedy in the opening moments of the first half almost picked up 3 to stop any kind of points. I think a couple spectacular individual plays are keeping Elevate in this.
I think Watson was something like 7 and 16, now 17 and 20 on a 4 streak. trying to bring himself back into this game. You saw the defensive hold he just made in towards Ship Bay to stop a dunk from going through. Right now, what Elevate are doing better on side 2, maybe, and you can already notice a difference, is their ability of just trading kills. I think they were being outside by like 9 or 10 kills in side 1. Now much closer in second half.
But the problem is, like, how long can you let Enigma6 keep funneling through there before eventually it turns into a point like you just saw? You can't expect the 3-piece or perfect trading to come at all times. If you're going to have that many offensive opportunities, eventually points are going to get through.
You can see Royalty just wreaking havoc in middle map. What a challenge. Tries to go for the player right behind cover where only his head can be seen. It doesn't work out. Another interception, though, from Elevate. That's now 2 in this second half alone, Maven. That makes it a, oh, what? Instead of a 2-possession game, it's a 1-point game with just 2 minutes remaining, and Camo's been earned by Reedy.
But outside of that dunk for Elevate that we had early, it's been similar to the first half, right? It's been complete control. Can they counter, though, here? It's going to be Camo. He's going to be able to pop this, should be able to make a play. Hitting it through Ice Tunnel. There's the pop. Keep an eye on the meter. Should be enough to get there. There's 2 players on defense. The body block does come in, but not enough to slow it down. Elevate will now have their first lead here in Game 3.
Big play from Elevate. Reedy has put no points on the board up to that point, but because of his slang, the 25 and 18 performance, it was enough score to earn that payload. They've now got Overdrive. They've got FTL jump. They have a ton of tools to work with. Zed on a 6 streak as well.
We watched 2 straight minutes of Enigma6 offense in which they didn't turn very much into points at all. Elevate now, their first time to kick it into another gear. They've been doing a great job. They've got the lead, but can they hold on? They're going to need to do it on defense again. They pick up off the wall run. Reedy goes off the map, but it should not matter. Proto just playing his life.
Elevate have looked so much better inside this ship area when they know they can just straight up challenge the side of Enigma6. You've got Overdrive ready. Does Proto elect to use it? Doesn't look like yet. Nearly cost his teammate his life by throwing the drone into his hands accidentally. Now Proto's going to try to clear middle again. Get your health back there before you challenge.
This has just been a fantastic hold on defense. Elevate, not letting much slip through the cracks.
Another interception!
Another pick, maybe unintentional, but goes right into his feet. There is Camo available, and that's going to be Zed killing General with the Camo. That could be the difference with 50 seconds left. Elevate looking to turn this into a series.
General was already one shot, tries to grab the drone. Unfortunately, beautiful shots from Zed. Scarab now out, tags up 2. He's got help from his teammates. This will be another hold from Elevate. They might just force the game 4.
Looks like they should do it unless Proto can kill everybody. He's gotten 2. Hasn't finished the 3rd. Great stuff from Reedy. Just keeping the drone lower. Proto has to then just give it up, get forward, and try to cut people down off a spawn.
It never reset.
Now you have a chance.
It never reset, and Proto's flanking. He gets the kill. They've got a wide open lane. This is going to be a dunk in 15 seconds for Enigma6. What a play from Proto, and he overdrives back to middle map. Take the drone and get away. E6 at the last moments will steal away the uplink. What a play from Proto.
Wow, and one of the reasons we highlight him for your key player coming into this, Proto has been amazing. E6 made the series look easy for most of it until kind of the nail-biting uplink there, but in the end, it's a 3-0, and that's all that matters.
Proto, 3 fantastic decisions at the end of that uplink. First, to leave the player with the drone down low, wait for his teammates for the help. Misplay from the side of Elevate not to reset that drone. You have all 4 players from Enigma6 here. That was our only chance that the drone doesn't reset. Second, he winds up pushing mid lane, flanks the guy who's trying to hold off that Ship Bay lane, wins that 1v1 gunfight, which was already tough. And then, instead of grabbing the drone, overdrives back to middle map to play the reset just in case Elevate were there, keeps the drone away. Nice job by him in the final moments of that game to secure the win.
And that's great stuff for Enigma6, because you got to think, between them, Ghost, FaZe, we're not sure who's going to get top 2. It's going to be a fight. So if Elevate is your weaker roster, and I think that's how you look at it, if you're Enigma6, you need to 3-0 them. And they get the 3-0. They already have basically a map count advantage starting off very early on day 1. Solid stuff. They handle business.
I think your worries were there, though. Not looking as strong as they did in stage 1 in Uplink. Definitely some things they can improve on from that map. For me, Elevate, rough first series, but kind of what I expected from that team.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's enough from us for our first series. We'll toss it over to the desk. Ben and the boys can break down.
Thank you very much, Maven. Kind of as Jack touched on there, probably what we all expected coming in terms of the final result, but we will, of course, break it down, starting with that map number 1, 250 to 119, the final score in favor of Enigma6. Merc, I mean, the game started off 146 to 41. I feel like that was the E6 we expected to see.
Yeah, just even, you know, the first hill. I mean, General was on like a 4 or 5 streak. Royalty had 3 or 4 kills, all at the NV4. Just all control from Enigma6, just playing it well. I think Jack touched on it. just they were playing their lead. They were playing it smart. Sometimes when you get around that 200-point sort of mark, you forget to rotate, right? You're just cocky. You're like, we can finish this game.
Right.
That allows teams to get back into it. They did a great job of just rotating and just being like, listen, we have a 100-point lead. Let's just rotate. Force Elevate to break our setups, and Elevate just weren't able to do it.
Very kind of by-the-book play by
Absolutely.
E6, if you will. On the flip side, it felt like Elevate didn't really have a response to some of the big players. Of course, General playing very, very well from Enigma6.
Yeah, this is really reminiscent of old General in this team, in my opinion. Running this NV4, and he just can play such a slow style and kind of bait his teammates. And when the rest of your teammates are outplaying them so heavily in hills like Hotel Hallway, where we saw there, you can just dip in and out wherever you want. Put those long lines of sights down range. It just really makes the game very easy. You can see how lopsided those scores on each of those hard points are. Elevate did decent at the hallway, actually, but man, it just got away from him.
We didn't even get to the second rotation of Broken and Hallway. Like, they just controlled the game so well, where that was it. I mean, obviously, Proto 1.58 with all that time in the hill, just a great job from him. But E6 just controlled the pace of the game so well.
Very rare when you don't even see the second hallway hill. The game ended very, very quickly. Of course, when we were talking about players that need to improve, Memo, the player you highlighted was Desire. Had a rough start, 5 and 10, but did bring it back. But who was the issue for Elevate?
Yeah, Desire, certainly you saw them. He kind of picked up the time in the hill. It was quite clear by the end of it. I mean, you look at KD, you look at time in the hill. We had Zed going 6 and 20 and 8 seconds in the hill. I mean, sometimes you have one or the other, but overall a very kind of poor start to the whole weekend for him. And Zed was, again, that player where when Elevate get interviewed, it's always Watson or Ryu who say he is our star player. Sometimes he is the one to go off. And online, he has been doing that, and he was confident, spoke to him before the game, and I expected more. Don't get me wrong, I think he did kind of improve as the series went on. Maybe it's that first game, first map kind of nerves. I hope that settles down for him, and yeah, that kind of concluded. You're not going to win a hard point when one player's going 6 and 20.
Very true. Obviously, you talk about Watson and how he improved throughout the series. Of course, map number 2 was a Search and Destroy throwback. 6-1 in favor of E6. But Memo, early on in the game, Watson almost gets a 1v4, and it looked like the series could be close.
Yeah, I mean, it was that at that point where you're thinking S&D, Elevate, technically it's their statistical best game mode. The 1v4 potential was kind of special to see, and the snapshot that he got on him, it got me a little bit excited, but it wasn't enough, of course, Watson. But again, the play which I said needed to step it up was Desire. You know, last round he was 1 and 5. You know, he does pick up a double kill, but wasn't enough.
I mean, this is just scary to me because Elevate has to be able to win Search and Destroys. It's probably their best game type. If you look back at Anaheim, they're 1 and 8 in Hardpoint. Obviously, that story continues in this series. Like, they're obviously not going to be able to slay with these North American teams. So you have to win Search and Destroy. Their uplink game looked pretty solid, but I mean, just to get 6-1 by E6 on this S&D, you have to play better in this game type. You have to win as many maps as possible. These guys know it's how they got 3rd place, you know, in Stage 1. So you know, it's just super important that they win these searches.
And then, of course, the Search and Destroy closes out with General picking up a big 3-piece team. But at that point, I wrote down series over.
Well, you can see there, General has that 11-3 score line. And a lot of time in Search and Destroy, you're going to hear us talk about trading really well. Right. Basically, team fights over towards the bomb sites. In this one, I just don't really feel like Watson had any help. But it wasn't really trades that was the problem for Elevate. It was just the fact that the players from E6 were able to pick up multiple kills in a row. General uses that camo to pick up the first there and picks up the second too. So I feel like the grouping up from Elevate was just fine on that map. But when you're just getting outgunned like that, it's one of the most basic things. You have to shoot people and shoot them well. There's several times where we switch on board with a player from Elevate and the shot was just a little bit off, to say the least. Yeah. So if you're not shooting well, you're going to get gunned. E6 just kind of demoralizing them there on the search.
Very true, very true. E6, of course, up 2-0 at this point in the series. We go over to the map number 3. As I said, I thought the series was done and dusted, but it does turn out to be a pretty close one. Remember, E6, they go up 3-1, then Elevate tied up 3-3. Of course, for Elevate, I believe they went 3-3 in this game type at Anaheim as well. So 50% in terms of the game mode. Were you surprised that they were kind of slaying with Enigma6?
I really was. Enigma6, from the very get-go of Infinite Warfare, have been a very, very strong uplink team. Of course, the roster changes. People thought, would that change? And when I saw Royalty play at Anaheim, I thought, you know what? They maybe have taken a bit of a dip in their uplink, but they're even better in every place. And I actually was very surprised how Elevate went toe-to-toe you know, with Enigma6, of course, we all kind of saw what happened at the end. Good specialist use here from Reedy to kind of take the lead there, 5-4. But in the end, we all saw what happened.
Yes, we did indeed. Of course, at this point, Elevate with the 1-point lead. And the big play was Zed killing General with Camo Merc. At that point, it's almost as if you expect Elevate to win the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And they decided to just sort of hang on to that drone. And I don't know who that was. It might have been Reedy or Watson. They had the drone under that ship, and they should have just tried to reset it. But it seemed like an Enigma6 player clutched up, were able to get that drone, catch it mid-air, and start their attack. Proto, obviously the big playmaker there, get into the base, gets a few kills, pops that overdrive to just sort of save the game, and just clutch plays out of Enigma6.
And again, to kind of touch on that Proto play at the end, because it was very impressive. You see him get a couple of kills, and then he sees the opposition, the Elevate player with a drone running around that silo, and he makes that conscious decision to say, I'm not going to challenge this. I need to play for map control. He goes for it. I mean, it was just such a good play, team.
This is a heads-up play. You got that kill at that middle alley, which is a very tough kill to pick up. But I guess the players from the other team weren't really expecting that timing, and the fact that he got behind that ship side, the most powerful way you want to push that drone. And not only do they get that dunk, he gets back to the drone reset before the other players from Elevate get off spawn to it, and just buys out the rest of the time. So impressive stuff from him. Heads up plays from Proto. We saw it in stage 1. He really impressive. It has made me a fan personally of his gameplay, doing it again in Uplink.
Doing a very, very good job, of course, in that first game of the day. E6 3-0. I think we all would have predicted that one. It's very, very difficult to go against that one. But we should talk a little bit now, of course, about Call of Duty World Championship. The tickets are on sale, and you can purchase yours at mlg.tv/CWL Champs, August 9th through 13th at the Amway Center, Orlando, Florida. But the first game in the books here at day 1 of week 2 of the Call of Duty Global Pro League, presented by PlayStation 4. E6 kick off their campaign with a win and force Elevate to go back to the drawing board. Up next on the main stage, we get our first look at the new FaZe clan featuring Gunless as they go toe-to-toe with Ghost Gaming as they look for a strong start to stage 2. We'll be right back after this.